class, so let them join. If they got any doubt in middle, I'll solve them. Okay, no need to worry, Subrachu. So today I will provide the Jeremy's notes at the end of the day. Right. And so we are discussing about servlet life cycle, right? So in servlet life cycle, first what we are doing, first instantiation will be happen for which one whatever our project we have created, right? Inside that one servlet class will be there. For that servlet class, object will be created, right? So first object will be created. Using that object, it is going to be initialized. Means now here, whatever our servlet class is there, right? So first servlet is our servlet class. For this servlet class, okay, first object will be created. Who is going to create? So container is going to create an object. So first instantiation. So at the time of instantiation, non-static blocks are executed, right? So instantiation will be happen. First instantiation of our servlet class. Okay, so this is our servlet class. Don't tell that servlet is a database at all. Whatever we are creating is the right first servlet. It's a servlet class. Instantiation will be happen at the time non-static blocks will be executed. Later constructor is going to be executed. Right. After instantiation, next step is nothing but initialization. Second step is nothing but initialization. Right. So after initializing the value, so whatever the object is created right at starting, so after the creation of the object of our servlet class, it is going to initialize to a particular variable, right? So why it is initializing? Because we are going to reuse this object. Why? Because again and again I need to call this service method based on my request. So what we are doing, so something called here instantiation is happened. It means internally with the help of new keyword one object will be created. Okay, so whatever the object is created, right, that object will be initialized in the second step. Okay, so like something first, so this is the class name and some reference variable will be there. So the whatever the object here it is created, right, the first step object will be assigned here. So it is not going to create one more object actually here. Whatever the object created, that object will be assigned here. Okay, new first servlet. Okay, so second step is initialization. At the time of initialization, it is going to call init method. Okay, after initializing, so see here initialization is completed. So immediately it is going to call init method. Okay, so whatever our code is there, first time itself, at the beginning itself, it has to execute. At that time, we are going to write the logic inside our init method. Anything you can write here. So it contains servlet config object. What is this servlet config and all? We'll discuss later. Okay, while we are discussing about context and config. Right. Third step is nothing but based on our request, service method will be called. Service method will be called. Okay, service method, how it is going to call? With the help of this reference variable, right? So with the help of reference variable, it's a non-static method. I can call this method, right? So that's why service method is also called. It is going to print service method executed. Okay, so at last after creating this, so if you call the, I mean, if you send again and again and again request, okay, so using this reference variable, it is going to call always this service method only. Repeatedly it is going to call service method. Okay, and at last after completing your whatever the task is completed, you want to stop your server. So while stopping your server, so these objects, so that is the thing, but first servlet object is created by the container, right? As of now we know only one object created by the container, but actually if you see internally, a container will create many objects. Okay, so we know as of now first servlet object only it is going to create. Okay, yeah, first servlet object is container created. Now what we have to do, we have to destroy that. Okay, or else memory storage will be full. Right, from memory we have to remove. So after completing our task, that means after the service method calling, so we need to destroy our, so we are going to stop our service. Okay, server we are going to stop. At the time of server stopping, so what it will do, so first destroy method will be called. Okay, init method we are going to use for executing the code at the beginning. Destroy method will be used executing the code at the last. Okay, and after executing this method, then whatever the object is there, right, this new first servlet, it will be removed, destroyed. Okay, so in this, do you have any doubts? So I'll show you one example also. Same thing I'll execute and I will show. Yes, so let us execute this. No, 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 no. I didn't say container is web.xml. Web.xml is a configuration file. Jaspin container is, it's not a web.xml, it's not a container. Container is a separate software. Okay, so this server is there, right? inside this server our container will be there. Okay, so that we can't show. Right. So like in Java also JVM is there, JVM is there, we are telling. Are we showing the JVM and all? No. So it is the container is also same like that only. Inside server, container software is present. Okay. Web.xml is just a configuration file. It will give you the details. Okay. Whenever you send any request to the server, any request to the server, container is going to communicate with web.xml first. Here you are going to give the details. Okay, web.xml will tell that. Okay, so you have to go to this application and come. Okay, so container understand. Okay, now I have to create object for this class, and I have to call the init method, later service method. After the execution, I have to call the destroy method. When service method call, there we are going to process our request and send our response. Don't think that web.xml is a container. Okay, yeah. So now let us execute index.html. Run on server. So click on next, finish. So click here to go to another page. So it is asking. So let us click here. So it is giving some empty response. When it is a first request, so this is a first request, right? First time only I'm clicking here in this application. So when I click on that first time, first class will be loaded. Later container is going to instantiate our servlet class. So while instantiating means our non-static block will be executed as well as constructor is going to be executed. Okay, so then it is while the object initialization is there, at that time init method is going to be called. Okay, after initializing, service method is going to be executed. Now each and every request, service method is going to be called because already we have initialized the value, right? So whatever the object we have created right here, so we have created one object, right? New first servlet like that. Actually, we did created container internally created. Alright. So this object has been already once initialized to particular reference variable. What is that reference variable name means? We don't know. Internally, it is taking one reference variable. Inside that, it has been stored. Object will be stored. Then each and every request, it will call this service method by using this ref dot service. Ref dot service. So for an example, I am taking it as ref. Okay, but it will be some other variable also. Don't tell that it is going to be stored in a variable called ref and all. Okay, instantiation after it will be initialized to a variable. That's all. This is a variable. Okay, then using that variable, it is going to be called the service method. See, service method is also executed. Now I'm going to execute this code again. So come back and execute this again. So now if you see service method is executed again. So if you click on third time also service method executed. Now here I am not sending any response here, right? I'm not at all sending any response. Okay, so when you are not sending any response, container will internally send a blank response here. Okay, so this is what a blank response. So it doesn't contain any content. Okay, so now again I will give what request. So it will container is going to call service method. Okay, so again service method executed. So n number of times you can execute this service method. Okay, so I have given something tab space and all. Okay, so come again, click here. So based on your request, 100 times if you click 100 times, it is going to call service method only. Okay, so at last I want to terminate, so I'm going to stop my application, so I'm enough of executing this application. So what I will do, I want to stop the server. So you should not terminate here. So terminating means whole application you are terminating, but I am going to terminate only the server. You have to go to servers. If the servers is not visible, here there is an option called search option. Click on servers. So you will get the servers option. You can see here a red mark, stop the server. You can click here, the server will be stopped. Now go to console and check here, destroy method is executed. First, the whatever the some file closings and all will be there, right? When you have taken files and all as static variables and all, at that time you have to close while terminating your server. Okay, the or else resource leak will be there. Right. So that closing logic and all we are going to write inside the destroy method. Okay. While you are terminating your server, so at that time first, all the closing operations will be performed here. Later, whatever the objects has been created by the container, that is one and only one object. Now it is created first servlet object. It will be removed. Right. So is there any doubt in the concept? Do you guys have any doubt in this concept? Servlet life cycle. If you have doubt, ask me. Once again, also I'll repeat. Have you all executed this program, dynamic web project? Have you tried this life cycle? Only 4 to 5 members are answering. What about others? 45 members, only 4 to 5 members are answering. So, are you guys there, or you keep hardly you guys turn on the hotspot and you turned on your application, or you wait? Right, sir, and it's working. Okay. No present, sir. So everyone getting right. See, servlets practical. If you didn't do the, you will get bored. Okay, so it's you are not going to understand anything. Servlet, while seeing it is very easy. If you not practice it, that it will be very difficult. If you know core Java, so it's like very easy. So all core Java concept only. So if you know perfectly core Java, na, so this servlets is first standard concept like that. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, what you have to understood, when you click on the link, where it should go, that you have to decide with the help of web.xml. Right? Yeah. So shall we move to next concept, or do you want me to repeat again? Okay, 1%. Next, we should move forward. Okay, okay. So 1 second. Okay. So tell me if I'm going fast beats, immediately tell me I'll go bit slowly. Okay. Let us open next. Okay. Then here let us take. So that is about complete knowledge of servlet. Okay. So in servlet interface, this much only you have to learn. Okay, and I will come to the point so that two methods I did explain. Right, that definitely I'll explain when the time arrives. Okay, so servlet config you have to understand the concept. Later only you can understand why this method is there. Okay, so and one more thing here, get servlet info is there, right? So here you can write anything, any message you can write based off to your need. But whenever I'm sending request, I don't need these three methods, right? These not three, four methods I don't need. That is, I don't need this destroy method. I don't need this get servlet config method. I don't need this servlet info method, and as well as I don't need this init method. I just need service method to process the request as of now, right? So always we need to focus on the service method because we are going to accept the request and we are going to process the request, send the response. Same job we are going to done repeatedly with the help of service method. Right. While we are creating application, we don't need these and all. These are optionals. Right. Whatever I have created here, these are optional. Whenever you want, that time only you are going to use. Right. So remaining time and all you are not going to use. So we need a service method only. I am not interested as of now to implement these and all. These and all waste of time. Okay, as of now. Okay, but in future, at the beginning, I want to execute some code. Definitely, I need init method. And if I want to execute before destroying the objects, I need to call the destroy method. Right. So destroy method also we have to call. So that and all we will see when we are actually applying. But as of now, we have to understood accepting the request. So when we accept the request, how can we process the request and how can we send some response? These are the main things. So these all four methods are optional methods as of now, right? So can I remove this? If I remove this, is it going to work? Is it going to work if I remove that? No, because servlet interface it contains all abstract methods, right? So the whatever the abstract methods are there are inherited to first servlet. So it is mandatory that you have to provide implementation for the child class. Okay, so what are the servlet interface methods are there? For that you have to provide the implementation here. So it is mandatory you have to use. But I don't want these methods and all. It is clumsy. It is distracting my code. I need only service method. As of now, I am processing the service only. If I want, at the time only, I am going to override my init method and I will use it. Okay. If I want, then only I will use destroy method. I'll override destroy and I'll use it. And same thing, get servlet info and get servlet config. Okay. So at this time, what we can do is we can go for another concept called generic servlet. There is a concept called generic servlet. Okay. So this generic servlet is nothing but it's an abstract class actually. Okay. So previously what, okay, first let me explain about this generic servlet. It is nothing but it is an abstract class. It is an abstract class. Okay. So this is a class. Don't think that generic servlet is an object. The sorry interface. Generic servlet is a class. So many of you are going to do mistake here only. Generic servlet, you're going to think it as an interface, but generic servlet is a abstract class. Actually, here there is no gap. Okay. So where is this generic servlet present? I already told you. Where is this generic servlet present? In which package? Generic servlet class present in which package? Yeah, it is present in Java X dot servlet. So we are running the servlet package only, right? So it is present in the Java X dot servlet package. Right. So this is the first point you have to remember. So generic servlet is a abstract class. Okay. 1 second. Yeah, yeah, Pralipta, it's absolutely correct. So, it means it contain both abstract methods or concrete method. Correct. Yeah, abstract class means what? It can contain both the concrete methods as well as the abstract methods. Abstract methods means the one which doesn't have any implementation. Concrete method means the method which have implementation. Okay, both head and body will be there for concrete method, and for abstract method there is no what body will be there, only head will be there. That is method declaration will be there, that's all. Right. So what is this generic servlet means? It is an abstract class we know. Why do we need these means? So to overcome some problems, that is just how I told. These are all optional actually, but container will internally call init method and all starting itself. And at the ending, container will call the destroy method also internally. Okay, but these are all optional. As I said, the service is a main method of the servlet class, right? It is like a main method of servlet class. So this method is mandatory. The remaining and all it's optional, right? So previous and all what we are doing. So whatever we are having. So this is our servlet interface. So servlet interface. This is what our servlet interface. Right. Now what we are doing, we are creating what servlet class. Right. So we are going to create one servlet class. Generally we used to create like this. So I'll use the same color only. So generally this is our first servlet class, right? So I will just write this one as F and S. It's okay, I will write it as first servlet like that. This is our servlet class. What we are doing here, we are making a relationship between the first servlet and servlet interface. First servlet is a class. So you don't forget it is a class. Okay, what we are doing here, we are making an easy relationship between these two. So that's why what happened, this servlet interface contains some properties. All the properties acquired to the first servlet class. And this servlet interface contains all abstract methods, right? And the abstract methods will be overridden here. The implementation should be given here, right? So then, now all five methods are there. All five methods we have to provide the implementation. But we are having one more class called generic servlet. So we are having one more class called generic servlet. So what is this class? It's an abstract class. You have to remember this. Okay, so let me take it as abstract generic servlet. So it is a generic servlet. Okay, so generic servlet is an abstract class. So it is a child actually. This generic servlet is there, right? It is a child for the servlet interface. Internally, this generic servlet is having relationship between the servlet interface. It's a class, it's an interface, it is an interface, and it is an abstract class. Abstract class. Okay, so we are having servlet interface. Previously, we are inheriting first servlet. So all the properties inherited and all the methods we are going to override and we are going to write. Now, when it comes to generic servlet, it is an abstract class. Means it can contain both abstract methods as well as concrete methods. So when an abstract class extending or implementing an interface, it is not necessary that all the methods should be implemented here. It is not mandatory, right? Now, here all the five methods are there, right? In this, four methods are implemented, right? So, in this, four methods implemented. Okay, So the not implemented method. So one method is there that has been not implemented, which is that service method. Very, very important point here. Service method is not implemented. Okay, so I'll make a point here. Here, service method will not be implemented. Okay, so till now we are making a relationship between first servlet with servlet interface. Now what we are going to do, whatever class we are going to create, we are going to make a relationship between the generic servlet class. Okay, so now no need to implement all the four methods. So here in abstract class, all the four methods are implemented here. Service method is not implemented. That service method logic only if you implemented, that's enough. So from now onwards, we are not going to follow this one, right? So we are going to create a general class. Okay, so normally how we are going to create, like that only we will create one class. Okay, so this is my first servlet class. Now what I will do, I'm going to make a relationship between this generic servlet. Now directly or indirectly, now this servlet interface is my parent. Here directly servlet is my parent. When it comes to here, indirectly my servlet is a parent. Okay, so what I said, whenever you are creating any class, if you want to make it as servlet, you have to make a relationship between the servlet and your Java class. Then only it will become a servlet class. Right. Now our whatever our class is there, so it is extending an abstract class. Now, if you observe here, if it is extending, so I don't want to implement all the four methods, right? Because the four methods are concrete methods here. The four methods implemented, but one service method is not implemented. So you have to implement only service method. So tell me now, can I override here init method or not? Can I override all the four methods or not? Can I override all the four methods or not? Tell me. Yes, right. So why? Because you are making a relationship between your Java class as well as that is your concrete class as well as with abstract class. So already whatever the properties are there by default present in child class. Yeah. When you make it as a is a relationship, so all the properties will be copied to the child. All the properties will be copied to the child. Okay, when all the properties are copied to child, so if we are not interested with the parent implementation, we are going to use override, right? After overriding we can use it. So based on our situation we will override init method. Based on our situation we will override destroy method, get servlet info and all we can override. It's our wish. Now it's optional, but service method is mandatory. Okay, so let us write one point here. Generic servlet is a child class of servlet interface. Okay, and one more very, very important point, that is it has, wait, one second. What we are doing here, so all the four methods has been implemented here, and one method is not implemented. Except service method, all the four methods are implemented. Okay, so we can make it as except service. Okay, except service method. Okay, remaining all the servlet interface methods are implemented in generic servlet. Right, generic servlet. Okay, so this one you have to remember. Okay, so it is an abstract class present in Java X dot servlet package. Remember, generic servlet don't tell it as an interface. Always remember it is an abstract class. Okay, and generic servlet is a what? It's a child class for servlet interface. Okay, in this all the four methods are implemented. Okay, except one method, that is service method is not implemented. Okay, so here till now we have implemented this one, right? Servlet interface. Okay, but now onwards we are going to extend generic servlet. And you know one more point that generic servlet, so generic servlet will accept all type of request. It will accept FTP request, TCP request, all type of request it will accept. Okay, so it will accept all types of request. Okay, it will accept all the types of request it is going to be accepted. Remember this point. Okay, just go through this once. So I'll show you the implementation and all how to do this. Same, everything is same. Okay, so whenever client server sends a request and all, so container will accept the request and it is going to process the request. Later it is sends the response. Everything is same. Okay, but what is the change here? One service method we have only implementing. So remaining methods we are not implementing. Just go through it once. Once revise it. I'll give just 2 minutes of time. Yes, guys. So yeah. So let us see what small example. Let me create what small dynamic web project. Okay, so new project. So which project we are creating? Dynamic web project, right? So this dynamic web project, we are learning generic servlet. Let us give example of generic servlet. See, don't give the same name as a generic servlet project name. By mistake, I missed 1 hour class because I'm in college. Please repeat whatever you thought. Okay, Itreka, just go through once with your friends. So if you're not understanding, so later just tell me, I'll explain you once again. Okay, first try to understand by asking with your friends. So if your friends are not helping properly means I'll help. Okay, so example of generic servlet, and don't create the name as it is as generic servlet. Okay, so click on finish. Okay, so if you see here example of generic servlet, see here it has been created. Okay, so here I need web.xml here and servlet jar. These two are main. So you can add at starting or at last also you can add. But we'll add at starting itself. That's not a problem. Okay. So what we will do, whatever our servlet jar file is there, right? That jar file, I'll add it here. Okay. So wait a second. Okay. So whatever our jar file is there, right? So it's servlet lifecycle. We are having one jar file. So okay, from where we if we have taken this jar file, tell me. Don't tell from previous project. Okay, so we this servlet API. So this API is present in where? In which place servlet API is present? I told. Yeah, in the Tomcat server. Okay, so don't tell it as Tomcat. Tell it as a server. Okay, see. If you are having doubt, so whatever server we have downloaded, right? So once go to the downloads and see the Apache Tomcat server, whatever we have extracted, right? Inside that, open it. If you see lib folder in the libraries, you can see here servlet API will be there. You have to search. Wait. Where it is? Here. Okay, so here our servlet API is there. So remember, if anyone asks you where is the servlet API is present, servlet API is present inside our Tomcat server itself. Instead of telling Tomcat server, you can tell it as a inside server only, right? So if we are having inside server, it is okay. But in our project, we have to include. Okay, because it contains in our Java APIs are nothing but jar files we have discussed, right? So that jar file should be extracted here. Okay, so now you can see web app libraries. So these are the packages we are having in servlet API. See here, we are learning now Java X.servlet, and we are going to learn in future Java X.servlet.http. These two are important things. So forget about remaining things. If we have time, at last we will discuss these and all. Okay. First we will learn whatever as a fresher you require. Okay. And we will do one project also by using Servlet. Right. Okay. So these and all we have already discussed. Just I gone through quick revise. Now I need web.xml I required. So yesterday only I thought. So you have to Right click on your project, go to Java EE tools, generate deployment descriptor stub. If you click on this, web.xml will be automatically generated. I'll tell about this welcome file list later. But as of now, we are learning the concept of generic servlet, so that we are not going to focus on this. Okay, so it's a simple concept only. I'll explain this later. But okay, now I need one index.html page. So let me create a HTML page. Index.html. Any name you can give. Name doesn't matter here. Okay, click on finish. Okay, so let us take some request we will create. Let me take h3 tag, and in h1 tag let us make it as welcome to the programming world. Programming world. Click here. So I'll make one anchor tag here. Oh, it is taking time. Anchor tag. Okay, so here click here to go to another page. So any message you can give, I'm giving something like this. So we'll create using generic servlet itself, we'll create one small project also. Okay, mini thing, but you can't add it in resume. Just for understanding purpose, we'll create. Okay, if time is there, today itself we'll create, or else we'll create by tomorrow. So whatever we studied till now, right? Using all these concepts, we are going to create one small web application. Okay, so click here to go to another page. Okay, so now what I will do, I'm going with, so index page is HTML page is ready. Now what I will do, I'll create my class, Java class, concrete class. So package name, I'll give it as com.jspiders. Enough. And here I'll give it as my first generic servlet. Don't give here generic servlet name only. Add something data. Okay. If you create the class name as generic servlet, it will not work. Compiler get confusion. Which generic servlet you are calling? Okay. So that's why I add it before or at the end. Add some data. Here I am giving my first generic servlet. So this is a concrete class. So now what we are doing, we are making this one as a servlet class. So either you can make this class as servlet class by implementing servlet interface. Okay, or else we can extend a class called generic servlet. It is throwing an exception, error. So why this error it is showing? Tell me anyone. So generic servlet is a class, right? While I am extending class, it is throwing one error. It is giving an error. What is that error? What should I add? 1 plus 2 or 3 plus 4? Abstract service method, yes. If you see in generic servlet, okay, it is not opening. Okay, in generic servlet, okay, so we are having one abstract service method that we have to override here. So hover on your class and here you can see add unimplemented methods. No, we have already imported, see, java.servlet.generic. Yeah, unimplemented methods, not unimplemented method. Okay, so only one method, that is service method. Okay, so it is having the argument servlet request and servlet response. So what I am doing now here means whatever arg0 is there, right? So I'm not interested with the variable. I'm going to change it as a request. Okay, servlet request is my interface, so request is my variable name. Okay, same way servlet response is there, I will take it as response. Okay, variable name may be anything, but I am taking like this. Okay, so done. Now, now I'm going to print something called hello, welcome to servlets, and then I'll print some message call service method successfully executed. Am I sending any response here? So in the from the service method, am I sending any response method? Response sending means am I using this response variable? No, it means so container will send a blank response. Okay, if we are not sending any response, so a blank response will be sent. Right. Now our index page is ready. Our index page is ready. Our servlet class is also ready. Now what we have to do, we have to configure that. Okay, I'll create one servlet tag. It contains servlet name as well as servlet class. Servlet name, so like a key, what I will take means anything I can take, so I will take it as something first. Okay, here I will take it as servlet class. So class is nothing but fully qualified name. So what I will do, I'm going to select my class, right click on this, copy qualified name, then come to web.xml and paste it. Then next you have to map it. Okay, so same thing. So we have to do servlet mapping, right? So we have to copy this thing as it is pasted because same you have to write. So I know we are experts in doing the mistakes and all, right? So you have to do copy paste. Don't type it. If you type, definitely you'll do mistake. I know. Okay. Then we have to write the pattern. So that is the link. So link you can give it as something called some Facebook. Any link you can give, but whatever link you are providing here, the same link you have to give in the hyper reference. So I will take it as simply FB here. Here also FB only I will take. So when user clicks on FB link, so when he click on this link, so where it should go? So it will come to the first, means first servlet is there. Yes, it is there. So go to this my first generic servlet service method. My first generic servlet service method. So these are the printing statements are there. Right. So now can I override here init method? Yes. Is it showing any error here while I'm overriding? No, it will not show any error, right? Yes, we can override the init method as well as you can override the destroy method. These are all optional actually, right? Destroy method. These are all optional. So as of now, I don't require these. Only I'm sending some requests. It is going to give me process some the request and provide some response. Actually, I'm not processing any request here. I'm not using the request variable and I'm not sending any response also, right? If you are having arg0, change it to request. If you are having arg1, change it to response. Okay, if it's your wish, if you are want to make it as arg0 only, use it like that only. That's not a problem. Okay, so then we are just printing, we are not processing and we are not sending response. So if you are not processing and sending response, not sending response means it will automatically send a blank response, right? So let us check this. Right click on your index.html page, run as, run on server. So save this. Save this and then select your server. So remove all. See, previous servlet lifecycle is also added. I don't want this. Remove this. Only execute example of generic servlet. Okay, what will happen if I add this one also? You're dumping two applications actually inside this server. Okay, if any exception in servlet lifecycle in web.xml, the current application is also not going to work. So that's why remove everything, just paste only, add only the current project. Okay, then click on next. Click on OK. So server started. Welcome to the programming world. Click here to go to another page. So let me click on here. So I did set any response. So blank response has been set there. And if you see here, it is showing hello, welcome to servlets. Service method executed successfully. Right? So when you click on here again the service method will be executed. See whatever two statements I have given, it is printing. Right, so each and every time you click on here, a block response is ready, and here the data will be printed which was you have written inside your service method. Okay, clear with the generic servlet. Clear with the generic servlet. Just take a pic of this. Take a pic of this and web.xml file. Okay, see here, nothing, it's very simple. Now you are clicking on here with the anchor tag is there. Not only anchor tag, when you are using some button, so you have to use something called on click. Okay, so let us discuss about anchor tag only. So when you click on here, it is going with the FB reference. Okay, so this is nothing but you should not tell it as a reference, it's a URL or link you can tell. Simply link you can tell. So FB. So container will search in web.xml. Is there any FB is there here? Is there any FB is there? Yes, I am having one FB. So this contains a name called first. Now it will see, so now we are having only one servlet. In future, we are going to create mini servlet tags. Okay, so it is going to search first from top to bottom. Is there any first is there? Yes, I am having one first is there. So it contains one class. Which class? Something called my first generic servlet. Right. So it will go to my first generic servlet and calls the service method. Okay, container will go to my first generic servlet and calls the service method based on web.xml. Okay, based on link it will go to a particular servlet name, and based on the name it is having some class. So based on the class it will call the service method of a particular. So only one request is there. In future we are going to create a many request, not only one request. Okay, only one button we will not create, right? We have to do lot of stuff, right? So yes, clear, clear with web.xml. See, one last time I'm revising. Listen everyone carefully. Okay, so again and again, I'm not going to revise it. Okay, listen carefully. Listen carefully. So if you got any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, so again, execute the code, and between we have five methods in servlet. Then why generic servlet? Okay, yeah, Subrachu. Good question. I'll answer the question. Okay, so as I said, As I said, servlet interface contains all the five methods. Even generic servlet is also contains all the five methods. But if you observe here, when we are discussing about servlet lifecycle, we are having all these methods. But we are going to take some request and we are going to send some response. For taking the request and sending the response, we don't need all the four methods. Okay, sometimes only we require and sometimes we no need this. Okay, so these are optional methods. Okay, so if you want implementation, then only we can implement, right? So at that time, if I want to see service method, I have to search here, where is service method, where is service method. But if generic servlet is there, only one method is there, that is service method. Right. So here itself we are going to write all the logic. Okay, only one method is there, no need to find. Okay, so we can directly see the code. Okay, so code readability will be more in generic servlet. And generic servlet is going to accept all type of requests. Okay, so about this point I will tell later. While we are discussing about the requests and all, I will discuss about this clearly. Okay, so let me quick revise this concept again. Now, previously what we are doing, whatever our servlet class is there, we are going to inherit with the servlet interface. Then it will become our concrete class become a servlet interface. But one problem is there, we have to implement all the five methods. All five methods we have to implement. Okay, but for processing request and sending response, I need only one method called service method. At that time, I'm not going to use remaining four methods and all, right? But it's a waste of time writing the so implementing those and all. Okay, but some rare situation we also need that. In that rare situation, we can override and we can use it. Right. Now we have that code readability will be difficult in this if we inherit servlet interface. Okay, so for that thirdly, generic servlet is there. Okay, generic servlet, what it is doing, it's an abstract class. It contains all the five methods of servlet interface. All the five methods. It has implemented the four methods, but one method is not implemented. That is what service method. Okay, it is not opening, or else I'll show you that also. Okay, it has to open like here. Here the source code will be open, but the core source code is not opening. So if it open, I can show that it's okay. Okay, so the four methods. What are the four methods are there? That is nothing but we are having init method, destroy method, get servlet config, get servlet info. These four method has been implemented here, but service method they didn't implement it. It has been inherited to here, but it is not implemented. Okay, we also need only service method to take the request and process the request and all. So that's why instead of servlet interface relationship, we are making relation with generic servlet. So no need to implement all the five methods. Implement just only service method. That's all. Okay, that is what we are doing here. Only give implementation for service method. Remaining methods are optional. If you want, you can override and you can use it, or else don't use it. Don't override it. And the code readability is also there, right? And And this one only we learn newly. So remaining index.html, web.xml, these are all same. So I'm creating one link. This is what one link. When user click on this link, it will go to something called FB. Okay, that FB URL you have given in web.xml. Okay, it will go to the first, that is my first generic servlet. So object will be created for this class. Init method will be called internally. What they have written inside the init method, they have written something logic. We don't require that. If we want, we can override and we can give the implementation of our own. Okay, but I don't want any own implementation as of now. But in future, if I need, definitely I am going to override the init method. Right. So service method will be called and it is going to be printed. Now, when you are executing, right click on your HTML page. Don't right click on your web.xml or lib folder at all. On your HTML page. Don't try to create 2 or 3 HTML pages and 2 or 3 links and all how to call. Okay, so that we will discuss one by one. We will discuss slowly. We'll discuss because if completing syllabus, I can complete within 2 to 3 days also. But you have to understand, right? Slowly we'll go. So right click on your index.html 404 for not found. So if it is showing 404 not found, you have done mistake in web.xml. Web.xml is mistake. Either the mistake will be the link, whatever you have given here and this one, both are not same. Or whatever the fully qualified name you have given, that will be a mistake. Okay, these two mistakes will be there. Okay, check this one and execute it again. So is it properly you have given? Don't right click on your file. Right click, select your class and right click on your class name. Okay, then copy qualified name. Web.xml you should not give any mistake. You should not do any mistake. If you do mistake, it will not work properly. Okay, so now let me stop the server here. Directly I'll terminate from console itself. Right click on index.html, run as, run on server. So it is asking some code modified, so save. Okay, my generic servlet also save. Now see, Tomcat server at localhost, next, finish. So welcome to the programming world. Click here to go to another page. So I am clicking on here. A blank response has been sent because I am not sending any response. Now see here, service method executed successfully. Now, if you are getting 404 exception, so let me show that exception also. Now instead of FB, what I'm doing, I'll give F only. So here FB I'm giving, here F I am giving. So when you run this code, case sensitive, you have to give there if it is small, here also small. If it is capital, capital only. Now see, click on here, you will get 404 for not found. Why? Here see, it is only telling example of generic servlet slash FB is not available. Okay, so here you have given FB link, but container will see inside the web.xml, but there is no URL FB. Only F is there, B is not there. Container will not add any additional things and all. It will create our additional objects for us, but it will not add anything, any data here. So you have to give perfect URL itself. FB here, here also FB. Save Control Shift S to save everything. Okay, I will stop the server and again I am going to run as run on server. So Tomcat version 9, click on next, finish. Okay, now when I click on here, now see blank response we are getting, and whatever logic we have written inside our service method, it has been executed. Everyone execute this now itself. Everyone execute this now itself. Do this. If you are getting any exception means tell me, I'll solve your issue. Do it now itself. And stop the server. Take a pic of this URL. You can give anything. So after taking this pic, take a pic of this. Take a pic of this. Okay, I hope done. So later now take web.xml pic also. Take this pic. Okay. So I hope you have taken. So just execute this. Guys, have you all done? If it is done, just give me a message. Okay, done. So is anyone getting any exception or any error? 404 not found, internal server error. No, right? See, if you are getting any exception, first go and see your web.xml. The configuration mistake, if you do now, your program will never work. Okay? You have to understand this web.xml file. Okay? So I hope everyone done this. So tomorrow what I will do means in the starting itself, I'm going to check your notes. So check your projects. Okay, so this is one dynamic project. We have to imagine it's a project only. I'll call you. So by your name, you have to send your Anydesk address. I will check your code. That's all. Okay. So do this, practice well. Sir, is this have any syllabus? Yeah, syllabus is there. A lot of things are there, but I am not going to tell at starting itself. You know, servlet is almost completed. If I tell you now, what your reaction? Almost servlet is completed. What is your reaction? Guys, don't expect much. Still, servlet concepts are there. Around it will take some 10 days. It will take. Okay. After that, we'll start with Hibernate. And when are you returning back to Bhubaneswar? If I have clarity, first I'll tell to you only, guys. Okay. So I have 80% chances of coming this Sunday. Okay. So I will tell you. I'll inform you in the group when I'm coming and all. Okay. So practice this well, and we'll meet you in the next class. Okay. So tomorrow we'll create some other project under one small mini project. Okay. Okay, guys. Bye bye.